Welcome to the Nick, Dick, and Paul Show. I am one of your hosts, Nick Bilton, a former New York Times journalist and now messing around in Hollywood.
I'm Dick Costolo, chocolatier.
Is that true?
A little bit.
Do you just melt chocolate and then make new forms? That's not really chocolatiering.
I do.
Okay.
Well, I melt the chocolate and then I cover things with it.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul Kedrosky, venture capitalist.
All right. Well, we have a very, very special guest today, Joel Johnson,
Yes.
who I've known for 15 years.
At least
maybe
15
more,
years.
maybe more,
Yeah.
and who is here today to talk to us about.
Wait, are you legitimately calling me Joel Johnson?
No, I was just messing around.
I like it.
Yeah.
Can I change my name?
I was just joking around. Joel Stein, who, do you know Joel Johnson? He's a good guy.
Is there really a Joel Johnson?
Yes, there is. He was in media also.
Oh, no.
Okay. Anyway, Joel
There's
Stein,
a Joel
who
Klein.
is a lovely guy who I've known forever, and was at Time Magazine for how long?
20 years?
20 years.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk today about the death of media,
Oh, God.
what happened to Time Magazine,
I don't know.
and
This'll be quick.
and internet trolls.
Okay, sure.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So, Joel, can you give us a little intro?
Chocolatier? Like that kind of thing? What are we looking
Okay,
for?
listen, I don't want people denigrating the
Chocolatiers?
melting of chocolate and pouring it over other things. Painters
You keep saying
just,
other things. It gets
painter-
real sexual the way you do
Painters
it.
just take paint and move it around.
All right. So, Joel, how did you get into journalism?
Oh, I didn't want to be a lawyer. Isn't
You
that how
went
we
to
all
law school?
got it? I mean, I thought I was going to have to go to law school, and then I wrote for my school paper and got some cool internships and figured I'd give myself 2 years before I'd apply to law school.
And then what was the first thing that got you into time and journalism and everything?
Oh, I spent 2 years fact checking. My first boss was Martha Stewart.
Oh,
For the
Martha
first year.
Stewart.
Yeah, literally. I wrote for her TV show. Out
How
of
was that?
college.
Martha Stewart Living? That TV show?
We were living, yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
We were living?
big.
Was that the pre?
That was the
pre
prototype
Martha
for
Stewart?
Living.
Pre living?
Yeah, it was a brand new show, and her writer had quit, and so they needed someone fast, and I was around. So I did that, and I worked in the magazine for a year as like a fact checker. Did another year of fact checking. Was about to give up, although I gave myself like an excuse. I was going to go try and write sitcom scripts. So I wrote like
in
a
Hollywood.
spec. Yeah. But then I got a job at Time Out New York, which was just starting, and I was there for 2 years, and we all got great jobs, and I got a job at Time.
So I kind of want to start at the end here. What happened
Please.
to Time Magazine? Like it
They got rid of me, and then things went downhill.
that was it.
Fast.
That was the
Yeah.
They
moment
traded you for
that-
Benioff.
Yes, yeah, exactly around the same time. Yeah,
Benioff, you're in. Get in here.
Well, the thing that's so fascinating about Time is there was a moment that it was largely the most powerful media brand on the planet.
Like before I got there, but right around even when I got there, I think the second most powerful person, or at least American in most countries, was the Time bureau chief.
Yeah.
Like that's where you went if you were in trouble, and the counselor couldn't help you.
And now, like I was saying before we started, I had someone email me from Time, and I briefly thought this was possibly domain hijacking, that maybe Time doesn't even exist and just someone's using it to send out random queries. I was like, is this for real? Do you guys actually do stuff? And he said, yeah, we haven't gone away yet. And it was a revelation to me. I had no idea.
That was how you started your relationship with this reporter?
Yeah.
Like you're still there?
No, I
Yeah.
said, is this a Russian scam, actually?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But
What?
then I moved on to, you guys are for real, it actually exists and do reporting things? That's really interesting.
No, they
I
don't
had
come out in
idea.
print every week.
No, this was like some kind of newsletter thing. So I
Okay.
don't even know about the print side of it. It was just, my reaction was I was surprised Time
Yeah.
existed, which is, this to go from being probably the most dominant journalistic brand on the planet in say 1970s maybe?
Well, even in the 90s, the 2000s, like it was still massive.
Yeah, we were making a lot of
You-
money.
Yeah, and then to go from that to this is just remarkable. I mean, and
In
that's
such
not
a short
unique to
period of time.
Time. I mean, obviously, this is across the board in most journalistic.
Well, what's
Or most industries, right?
Most
Like if you look
industries,
at the top 500 companies
Yeah.
from any year,
Yeah,
but most of them, there's a churn that's pretty
huge.
big.
Yeah, huge amount. Media just uniquely, it seems to be have been like a
All of a
scythe
sudden,
across the entire. Everybody got it.
But what is unique to Time is correct me if I'm wrong here, but what's unique is the fact that in you look at the other brands that were big at that time.
Was big the word you were looking for?
I was trying
you
to
were
figure
making
out-
a gesture.
His arms were getting
You
larger
wanted
and
something with
larger.
more syllables and more gravitas.
But big
like
works.
gravitas.
Big
Humongous.
works. Humongous. But like the New York Times, Washington Post, yes, they've all been through their ups and downs, but they are still these massive institutions that have even the Boston Globe, like 1,000 employees still.
But most local papers are not. The Philadelphia Inquirer
But I don't
or
look
the
at
LA
Time as a
Times.
local paper.
Yeah, but they were in a bad position because they were the middlebrow, which doesn't really exist anymore. They were summing up things every week, which is a schedule no one's living by anymore. So could they have pivoted? We talked about it a lot while I was there. Maybe they had a big enough, bureau system.
What do you mean pivoted to becoming? Because they
becoming
did,
the New York Times.
But you did original reporting when you were there.
Yeah, but not as much as like a paper. We were really summarizing the week a lot, and it was original reporting, but based on some breaking news someone else found, which is not uncommon. But we were doing a lot of that. Not to say we didn't do or they didn't do investigative reporting and stuff, but I think they could have pivoted. But I remember this is a little lesson that you guys would know better, but like because I don't know anything about business, but it seemed like if you're a large enough,
they don't know anything about
Yeah,
business either.
it's funny you looked at me.
That's
and
my
said,
chocolatier.
Not knowing
he knows
anything about
chocolate.
business is my main skill.
but if they had figured out if they had taken the leap and tried to pivot, the odds are it would have failed and a lot of people would have immediately lost their jobs. So instead, they kind of slowly died.
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of people
yeah.
got to keep their jobs.
But
and maybe someone would have discovered something that would have saved them.
to be fair, the statement, if we had tried to pivot, it probably wouldn't have worked, is the surest way to guarantee that you will die
But
a slow
slowly.
death.
Yeah,
even a fast
yeah.
death.
It was a
It's
guaranteed
the-
slow death.
It's the time. How did time go from
Slowly
millions
then suddenly, yeah.
slowly
But at that
then all
time,
of a sudden-
maybe
Yeah.
maybe you would have pivoted to becoming BuzzFeed. Like that would have seemed like a smart move, right?
Uh-huh.
And
When was this?
it
Around
wouldn't
what
have been.
time? Was this pivot discussion? Around what year? Yeah, just ballpark?
When after the AOL merger,
Yeah.
so early 2000s.
Yeah. So around that time. I mean, it wasn't as if anyone else had sort of established what it meant to become successful in a post-print world anyways by that point.
Well, they have. It was places like BuzzFeed. It was
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
the
But I
Huffington
mean, like in
Post.
terms
Yeah.
of the incumbents, like the Washington Post and the New York Times and other who you might have aspired to become, right?
No, they were just like
Yeah.
putting paywalls up and taking paywalls down,
Yeah,
and
right,
they didn't
right,
know
exactly.
what they're doing.
You did the Me generation story, which you got panned for.
I did. I didn't
Tell
know
us about
people. There's this professor at San Diego named Jean Twenge, and I was talking to her, and it was kind of her idea.
This is 2013.
Is that right?
Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, and it was kind of like that the iPhone had changed everything
To what?
to a much hyper individualistic, self-branding, social media depressed group, and I saw in that all the markings of me and my own career, because I had come up by writing about myself and being very, being just a glorified blogger. And it just seemed like everything that was happening was some version of what I was doing. So I was really interested because I'm interested in me. And I wrote this cover not knowing, being Gen X, like I don't have any attachment to my generation. That's not part of my identity. But the millennials didn't feel that way at all. And they were pissed off. And I think I also did a bad job up front explaining. I didn't realize how hard it is to explain to people that generations are different. That if you went, back in time and tried to hang out with George Washington, like you would just see that people are radically different over time, and people don't like that idea.
But your thesis proved to be true.
All my theses proved to be true.
True.
Yeah, just too far in advance.
Just
Yeah.
years and years later.
Sometimes decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you look at, when you think about that story and you look at the world today, you're just like, Jesus, what happened?
Well, also, just to be fair,
Yeah.
if you write the me generation and the generalization is you people are lazy and addicted to your phones and have no original thoughts, you're not expecting the generation to go, hey, he's kind of pretty much nailed it.
No. I also said a lot of positive things, that they're more accepting and more,
They're not
kinder.
more accepting.
They are kinder and more accepting, I think, as a group.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, think about when you went to high school versus your kids at school. I thought when we named our son Laszlo, my dad was like, they're going to make fun of him so badly for having that name. It's like kids don't care. They don't beat each other up as much. Like they're just generally more accepting of difference.
I think they're just not looking up from their phones. They just didn't notice.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't get that. What was the name again? God, it slipped right past me. So,
But that was a play, obviously, off of the Me generation, which was not obviously, but there was this Tom Wolfe cover for New York Magazine that called the 70s the Me generation. And
Oh, yeah,
I
I
was
remember
like,
that. Right,
I was
of
like,
course.
yeah, this is just a continuation. This is just more of that.
Yeah.
And it's gonna. What do you think? What do you think that where does this end up in the future? Like, if you were to write
Like,
the story today,
The hyper individualization of
if you were
America,
would it
where
be
does that
just more
go?
more me's in the title, or like?
Yeah, a lot more Me is probably, right?
We were talking, Dick and I were talking recently about how with AI, slop, and all the things how do you want to bring that up? Like what we were talking about?
Why Sora is like not
Why
interesting?
Sora? Yeah.
Sora
and-
folded.
Yeah. Well, the discussion was you could sort of tell the first day you looked at it. Like once
Yes.
everything is possible and anything is
Yeah, yeah.
renderable and anybody can be anywhere all at the same time, it's all uninteresting.
Well, it also sucks, right? Like I did some consulting for a proto Sora company that was basically doing the same
Called
thing.
Martha Stewart Sora.
Right.
It was a
Oh,
fact checker for Martha Stewart Sora. Martha, were you really in outer space making asparagus? Come on.
Did you see anything on Sora that was good though? It all sucked.
Never.
Never.
Not one thing. Did you,
Yeah.
Paul?
No, but I mean, I just looked at it. It was like a stepping stone to something more interesting. Like they just put it out there.
Yeah.
And now the tools have gotten much better. So the only surprising thing to me was that they didn't iterate really hard on it and do more interesting. Now it's mostly ceded the ground to like Chinese companies and others who are all doing Sora-like things, but just at a higher level of sophistication. Not in terms of the content being any good, but the tools being vastly better.
Does it look good though?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Really impressive. Like ridiculous. Well, we've been sharing some
Because
back
like
and forth.
AI porn hasn't even taken off.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that's
one of the-
usually the first place you
That's
look,
one
and
of
those
the great
companies
mysteries.
all folded.
I'm assuming it's because
Yeah.
I'm assuming
One of
it's
the great
because kids
mysteries
don't.
of our time.
Yeah, it really is. Why hasn't that taken off? I mean,
Because
what's-
it sucks. I've looked
I
at
think it's
AI
because
porn.
young people
what's
young
wrong
people are
with it?
broken. That's my theory.
Is the suck a pun, or is it?
No.
What is wrong with the AI porn that hasn't?
The
taken
feet
off?
are in the wrong place.
I like the 12 fingers.
It's like what's amazing is everything is great, and then they're like, no, that's not where the foot is.
Dude's got 6 fingers. I'm out.
I'm in.
To each his own. Right.
What is wrong with AI porn?
All right, this is going sideways.
I'm curious. Like, why is it not
No,
worked
it's
yet?
actually an interesting question, and I've asked people who are much more on the video side of things, like why hasn't usually whenever these new inflections come along, especially if it's audio visual, the very first place that finds itself is in, and it was true with like video cassettes and things, true with DVDs and on and on and on, and yet with this stuff it's not, and not only that,
It was. It did. They started, and then no one really liked it.
no one really liked it,
Yeah.
and then it all retreated behind paywalls. Apparently, this is what I was told the other day. All of this stuff
Well,
exists.
there's like deep fake stuff.
No, but
Yeah.
like literally, this people are all of this stuff. Not even just the deep fakes, but just content, adult content, even of the video variety, is mostly already behind New York Times style paywalls, like the early days.
It's actually behind the New York Times.
It is behind, right beside Wordle.
Yeah.
That's where that's why they're able to hire 1,000 new journalists.
Right next to the New York Times cooking Otto Lengi's double
which is
lemon
weird,
chicken.
right? Like,
I've
why
heard
does
good
that?
things.
Why would it evolve that way? I have no idea. It's just almost as if they're reenacting the early days of content on the internet, where it's like, oh, we'll just put it all behind paywalls, and realize that was a really bad idea. I mean, they're smarter than that, so I have no clue. But I just thought it was interesting that it's out there, but mostly behind paywalls.
I mean, I do think. Look, it's always going to be far ahead of every other industry. What? I'm not.
I mean, that's
but
sort of
no, but
broad generalization.
no, but porn is always. There's a million more beyond what you said. The whole reason that VHS exists and everything. But the question is it just not working, and this becomes relevant to media because it's just not there yet, or do people? Because I think it's.
I have a theory.
Okay.
My theory is, and it goes back to the idea of when everything's possible, nothing's interesting,
That's what you said.
right?
Yeah.
And this is that, right? Where it's like, I
That's
need
Jane's addiction, basically.
I want someone who's a contortionist with 12 fingers to do the following on implausible sexual acts. And it's like, cool, I guess they can do it. And then it stops being interesting anymore because you've just turned it into kind of a freak show as opposed to saying, like, these are real. And I think that's part of the
betting
element
against
here.
freak show in porn is a bet I'll be on the other side of.
But even in the again, this is
I think it just looks like crap. I mean, I think it's that simple.
it doesn't look like crap.
Okay.
I had someone demoing to me trying to convince us.
Oh,
that they're
someone?
authoring-
Who is that someone?
It was an authoring tool for doing video content.
Oh, got
and they
it.
were showing the unbelievably, realistic. And these were, human bodies, whatever.
Got it.
And it was. I was like, this can't possibly be
human
real.
bodies. Same thing. Why do you need to, always?
Anyway, so my theory is that when you
categorize?
take away the limits, it's not people. It's no different than why does chess exist when computers are better at chess than people are? It's because we want to see people do it. Point isn't quite chess, but we still want to see people do it. This is my theory.
So, but if when everything is, what was your line?
Do you clip things
When
for
everything is
like
possible,
Instagram?
nothing-
Yes.
'Cause I like porn is not chess.
Yeah, porn is not chess.
No, but I will.
When everything is
When everything is possible, nothing is interesting.
Yeah.
okay. So now we look. If we take that to the state of media today, Substacks, billion YouTube
You're
channels.
good at this. You get things right back on track. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a terrible habit.
It's
Yeah.
all of this stuff that's happening. A million podcasts. Thankfully, everyone's listening to just this one, but just the instrument. There are literally podcasts about podcasts. It's just it doesn't stop. What do you think happens? I'm curious for everyone's theory here. What happens to the media moving forward when everyone is their own media channel? It's like everything exists. What's interesting? Are we just going to continue into that silo where we're all me generation, or is it there's a pushback where it's overwhelming and we still need those theories to the same things to talk about? One thing I will point out that I think is really fascinating. When you look at movies, right, you have to watch the same movie to be able to have a conversation about it. So that means that you have to go to Disney or the movie theater and watch the new Disney movie, whatever it is. With media, what's fascinating is that you don't have to read the same media outlet to have a conversation about it. So you could have read the Journal this morning. You could have read...
But this is precisely why Americans can
Talk right past each other.
So talk right past each other
Correct.
about the very same topic.
Yeah, but which is... So what's fascinating is you don't have this conglomeration of media in the same way that
I'm
you
going
do.
to push back against
okay,
that.
great.
'Cause
Push back.
That's a phrase I've heard on this podcast a lot. I don't know if we're having the same conversations. When I go to Fox News,
Yeah.
they're talking about totally different news events
Yeah.
than I see on CNN or the New York Times.
Okay.
So I don't, and when you say we all have to watch the same movie, I think
No, but you have to watch the same movie to have a conversation about that movie.
yeah, but with your demographic, right?
Correct.
The very small group of people watched the same movies that I watched, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's true with news stories too. I think we're all just following our own little storyline.
So it's just
I
we
think that's
continue down that rabbit hole until it's just us watching our own AI video slop. Like
that's the Black Mirror, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Watching shows about ourselves.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's exactly where it goes. Everyone's a solipsist. Everyone wants to only hear about themselves. This is perfect, right? I can just dive down the rabbit hole of meanness, right?
Don't you guys think that's a little depressing?
No.
I've been doing it for years.
Yeah. You're just catching up.
Is hyper individualism depressing? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Like,
okay.
we want to
Good.
be in
Joel
communities.
finally agrees with me on
But it's
something.
I
Well,
said,
go
I
on.
also agree with you. Well,
I just think it's bad for society. That's where I would. I mean, whether it's good or bad for individuals, I have no idea. But I think it's
yeah, you
terrible
do. It
for
makes
society.
them depressed. If you're not social, if you're not physically social, you get depressed.
Yeah, but there's a lot more to depression than whether or not I'm on my phone or not, is I guess my point. So I just think that from a societal standpoint, you can't have a functioning society when there's absolutely, we don't even share a common basis, right? I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do when you're having a discussion with someone who you think has a strong political bent. You try to establish, okay, let's see what we agree on and see if we can work out from there. And you almost always discover you agree on nothing. Like I breathe in and out, you breathe in and out, not so much, right?
Yeah.
And then you're trying to like build up from there. And that's the problem, is you can't have a basis for a conversation because of the disappearance of these monolithic media institutions that help to
Right.
have.
That's why there's very little bipartisan
Right.
legislation anymore. It's like
Right.
it's
Which is- and which is
impossible
why,
to
you know,
even
it-
have a beginning from which they can.
And why
move forward.
Congress, one of the things, I was making this argument to my kids the other day, that Congress is essentially a bunch of live streamers now.
Yes.
Right? Every individual
Yes.
congressional
Yes.
member is essentially performing
Yeah.
for an audience that
course.
is not inside of Congress.
And they're not even going to Congress. Yeah, they're just
and it's
going.
not even
yeah.
their constituents. It's just I'm now an influencer,
Yep.
and I'm broadcasting to the audience of me. And this just happens to be a convenient place from which to do it with nice backdrops that aren't green screens, right? It just happens to be
You
Congress.
objected, as did I at the time, to the Time magazine. The only thing Time magazine is still around for is the Person of the Year. And they did, I forgot what year, but they did, They found a printer that would print a
the
fake
mirror. That's right.
like you would buy at like the boardwalk, and that was the actual Time Person of the Year. And I remember you objected, like a bunch of us did inside Time, objected to this really stupid cover, which said you are the Person of the Year with the mirror.
Right.
But like, I think it was 100% right looking back.
Oh, no. I think it was 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of separating the idea of whether it's right or whether or not it's laudable. And you kind of have to make that separation. And I think sometimes all of us, me in particular in that case, have a tendency to say, okay, I just disagree with it because I think it's toxic, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But don't you guys think that?
It was the year of YouTube.
yeah.
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 Don't you think that you go down these rabbit holes where it's just this individualistic content that you're consuming, and then there is a moment where you're like, oh, I really actually do want that social experience, not a social media experience, but a social experience where I'm consuming with others or discussing with others, things like that. Don't you think that there'll be a pushback at some point?
But that happens now. It's just so fractional. Like watching my kids, watching others. Like it's on the level of 15-second memes. That's the cultural currency of the conversation. It's not a movie or a TV show. It might be a reaction to a segment of a TV show that now has become a meme, and that's the currency that they talk back and forth in, right? And that's the shared medium, which is alien to me.
Yeah,
That's what it
you
is.
want to believe that there will be this great, we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. Throw the phone out the window, but then you're walking through a heavily trafficked tourist town like Florence, Italy, and people are standing in a massive line, outside of the museum to get in to see, Michelangelo's David with their phones
It's the
facing
craziest thing.
themselves.
It's the craziest thing.
Taking selfies of themselves in line, talking about
The
getting
line.
ready to go
Yeah.
see
Oh, no.
Michelangelo's David.
the craziest-
And you realize that we're not mad as hell. We're going to keep taking
We're
it.
drugged as hell, and we're going to keep taking it.
But
Yes,
I'm kind of
exactly.
obsessed
That's
with
such a
you
good
go
point.
to a museum and there's like one more famous piece in there. Like you're at the Louvre and there's the Mona Lisa. And the Mona Lisa has its own either room or half room. And it's just people holding their phone over their heads like they're at a Beyonce concert filming it.
Yeah.
Which, isn't to capture the image, obviously. It's to prove they were there. I see it at every museum now with whatever their most famous piece is. And I feel very alien to my culture.
Yeah. But you see that this idea, though, we've talked about this before, this idea that you're trying to capture, I'm trying to capture me in this place because I have a list. And I have a list and I need to show that I was in all these places.
And by the way, the list was shown to me on the same platform.
Right, on the platform.
Top 5 things to do in Florence, Italy.
right.
Don't miss this thing.
So now it's like
we're
click,
obsessed
click,
with
click,
it.
click.
Granola and
All of which is like paid for. So you're watching an ad, pretending, and it's an ad.
Right.
But you accept it as real information anyway, and then you act on that information. I mean, this is what TikTok's based on, that people will make
And
their own ads.
the difference is, and this goes back to Time and the old and traditional media, is that it's so circular and
Recursive, yeah.
and recursive. Like if you think back, like that idea of 5 things you must do in Florence. Lonely Planet had that. Rough Guides had that. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is now the thing feeds back on itself, right? Because now you have this algorithmic
paid
signal, right?
Yeah.
And it's paid for, but I get to
Well, it's the
continually see-
algorithm. It's
the
really the
algorithm keeps
algorithm.
feeding it, and now that goes to the top of my feed.
It's
There's
how
no algorithm
it's how
driving.
6'7" became the meme that my kids,
Yeah.
that what we're doing because
people talk about things like abuse and, why didn't you do XYZ to deal with abuse, or why don't you do XYZ? It's not the abuse. It's the algorithm.
Yeah.
The
Wait,
algorithm is feeding you the abuse, making you angrier.
You're talking about when you were at Twitter?
Wait a minute. Why is it?
Why is it
Why
Dick's
is it
fault?
about me?
Because you said people talk about why didn't you do anything about the abuse?
I've been doing that for 10 years. Suddenly, are you talking about how
It's
you ruined everything?
the original sin.
I want to.
Are you talking
I want
about
to
how you
move on.
ruined everything?
I want to move on to how Dick ruined everything by talking about a cover you wrote in 2016. Why we're losing the internet to the culture of hate. Now, Dick experienced this firsthand while he was running the chocolatier company Twitter.
When Twitter first got big, they I'm trying to remember what year it was. They had suggested people to follow.
Yeah, that was early.
It was pretty early,
Yeah, it was
and they
early.
put me on the list. And so
Wow,
I
look at you.
suddenly had like just shy of 1 million followers for no reason.
You owe me a bunch of money for that.
I sort of do.
You did drive
Because-
that, right?
Because
I remember
what?
you telling me. Because I remember Dick
Was
telling
it you
me
that came up with that?
No, the
No, that was
suggested
before. That was before.
priming.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
yeah.
your point, you made this point to me years ago, was that the Twitter early on, kind of people would join it and you would basically like fly them into the side of a mountain because they'd be like, well, I have no idea what to do with this. I've now tweeted
Correct.
twice at 3 presidents, 2 movie stars, and a
Joel,
dog.
and Joel Stein.
And
and
no
he
one,
hasn't
and no one
responded.
has responded yet. Twitter is useless.
Yeah,
right?
shouting into the abyss.
I'm shouting into the abyss. And so in part, these suggested user lists at least gave you the feeling of vitality or something happening because you were led to follow all of these people.
But then I felt like I had a tweet.
Right.
Because I
right.
had this responsibility.
Right. To these
and
strangers.
To strangers. And then I would sometimes be in a meeting, like selling a sitcom pilot or a book or something, and they would bring up my Twitter stat.
Yeah.
And I would say, look, don't go by that because those aren't real
You
followers.
were so stupid.
And
you
you're
should
not-
have been like,
Monetize it.
Those people are outside right now. They're waiting to watch whatever.
No, I'd warned
You're talking
everybody.
about the Joel Army?
I'd
Ready to
warned-
pay $16 for any film
Anything I
go off?
suggest, right?
Yeah, none of them translated into buyers, but people wouldn't believe that when I told them.
But wait, what does that have to do with hate culture?
I thought it was here because I am the, you probably know this, majority shareholder in DoorDash. And
I have someone you should talk to.
yeah, I thought so.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I was
That
like,
was
really?
one of the funniest
And then-
things I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, he went on.
See?
I
Do you agree
enjoyed-
with me on DoorDash?
No, you're
Gross.
insane. But I enjoyed the hell out of
All
it.
right. Anyway,
Yeah.
but no, wait. Moving
Enough.
back to the hate thing again. Where were you going with that?
Well, it was a big thing at the moment. Like Milo, I went and hung out with Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Milo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to England for Business Week and hung out with him for a couple days.
How was that?
Did his podcast. Fascinating. I had a really...
He's back on Twitter now.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
How's he doing?
He's still tweeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Still doing the same thing.
And it was the time when, he had that thing with Leslie Jones. in
What was
which,
that again?
He kind of activated the Milo army to
Oh, that's right.
threaten her. And she got really freaked out and didn't leave her apartment. And there was just a lot of like kind of, it was just not that long after Gamergate. So there was a lot of kind of scary trolling, swatting was starting to be big. And I just wanted to write about it.
But when you look at, we talked about this, when you, Paul and I, when you look at Twitter now, what was the thing you sent me the other day
Oh,
about?
and I had a troll that I wound up meeting for the story.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, this is really cool. There's this woman.
I've never heard anyone say that about their own troll. But keep
Yeah,
going.
well, the thing is, you should meet your trolls. Is my belief.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I started the
Agree to
podcast
disagree.
with mine.
Yeah, strongly.
See? Yeah, this woman was tweeting like she would see me in person with my family and say like I should have killed him or I should have
Wow.
or beaten him up. I know it was killed, beaten him up. And then I looked her up and she was a short comedian. And so I wasn't as scared maybe because it was a woman. And I was writing this thing, so I asked if she'd meet with me. And we went out to lunch and then
what did she? What?
It's great. It's insanity.
Yeah.
Like, no, we should meet for coffee.
Do you want to go to a gun range together?
Let's meet up.
so I do have this belief.
You want to chop me up into little pieces and blowtorch those? Please, let's get a Danish.
Before
Surprised
social
more people
media,
don't do that.
me and Josh Tiringale did this experiment, this guy at Time, and we used, this is back when there was like a letters section, and so we thought, hey, if we can get the person who wrote the meanest letter to communicate back and forth with the writer, the conversation will de-escalate. And we wanted to run these, and we did like 3 of them, and it always worked. Like
Every
people,
time.
Once people knew a human was actually
Yeah.
reading it and responding it, they got much nicer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with me and my troll. And then we started hanging out. We played racquetball. We she
Are
came
you
over my
serious?
house. Yeah.
Wow.
This sounds like Shrek 4. Me and my troll playing racquetball.
Oh, the horrible thing is though,
This is a great idea until somebody tries it and the other person brings a carving knife.
That's right. They up the game. So I have a theory
Yes.
on the whole, specifically on the context of that, is that one of the things social media did is made it possible to be an anger entrepreneur. You could monetize anger in ways that you could never monetize as at such a narrow way before. Like you could always shout in the old newspapers and
Yes.
get paid
You could
for
be
it.
Rush Limbaugh. You could
Right,
be
but
a columnist.
I could narrow cast it and bring it down to the level of 100 really angry people and monetize them, and then you build up from there. So it became really easy and straightforward to monetize anger in all kinds of ways that weren't possible before. And as soon as that happened, then all of these people starts appearing on social media. You realize like, if I just shout this, not only does it get me more followers, I make more money from it. So being an anger entrepreneur became a really good business.
I completely agree with that. And it's precisely what I mean by it's not an abuse problem, it's an algorithm problem. To the extent the algorithm weeded that out and you were shouting into the abyss again. But instead what it does is that kind of commentary gets the most engagement, move it to the top.
Right.
And now you've just got an anger machine.
And you got an anger machine.
Why do we blame the algorithm instead of like human emotion?
Because it's easy to filter this stuff out if you're the algorithm, and then you're not going to get into all the just in escalating back and forth.
Yeah.
But
You can elevate the discourse,
don't
and then
feed people's worst
you engage
impulses.
in the discourse.
Right.
Don't feed people's first impulses.
Yeah.
And you don't need to treat every single account as
This could be a key source going forward.
or why is it's not necessary just because it's got more engagement doesn't mean it's as authoritative a comment or feedback as something else, and you don't need to feed the beast.
Yeah. Yeah, but all the algorithms underneath Meta, underneath certainly in Insta, on Twitter, or X, they all trigger off engagement, and engagement is a really poor proxy for anything other than future engagement.
Correct.
Right?
But that's the goal, is engagement.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I understand it. But the point being, though, that it creates this anger entrepreneur marketplace, which again leads to exactly I just think you can't get away from the point. It's not just that people are more angry or just that there's crazy people getting an audience. It's that being an anger entrepreneur is wildly profitable now and wasn't before.
Correct.
But so we want these social media companies to be more like PBS, where they like...
No, you just don't have to over-indexing on engagement is a bad idea. It's bad for society. It'll eventually.
But it's good for business.
But it's good for
Elon
business.
Musk.
It's the network television model from old, right? Like you just...
It's good for business until it's bad for business.
Well, how does it
people
become
have left?
bad for business?
Look at how many people have left.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
but how
people
does
show
this-
up at the Capitol on January 6th. These are all over-indexed on anger, right?
But YouTube and Instagram are not over-indexed on anger. They're over-indexed on ego, right?
I just think it depends on what you watch. Like if you watch the wrong thing, next thing you know, your
I know.
feed-
It's my kids were on my YouTube and they watched clicked on. I mean, everything they've clicked on, it's now completely
it
destroyed.
gets completely repopulated.
Completely
right?
destroyed.
Right. It's like
Like-
an ecology with invasive species.
Exactly. That is a great way of putting it.
No, it is.
That is a great way of
Where
putting
the hell
it.
did all this like yellow weed come from?
Yeah.
Right? So this is where.
You, Joel, you've named your podcast "The End of My Career." Is that a joke? Cry for help? Is that a
Yes.
What is that all about?
My career ended, and I'm still going to write a column. It's insanity.
Your career ended when time ended, or before or after? Or how did it end?
Yeah, I mean, it ended when the thing I did became like a mass commodity, like writing mildly amusing things about my life. Yeah, I think that became social media. So
Was that
and reporting. I mean, I was also a reporter.
Was that hard for you when that happened? Was it like, or were you,
Yeah.
What? Talk about it. Tell us what.
Is this therapy?
Yeah, this is a little emotional therapy here. I'm curious, like what?
Yeah, getting old is hard too, right? Like it's just there's new things, and I would, if I could choose, I would choose to be excited about the new. I think that's a much healthier, more interesting way to look at life, and sometimes I do. And I think time spent like mourning the past is not fun or useful or great.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have this theory that
It was fun, right? It's over.
It was fun. Yeah, time. I mean, in your heyday when it was like
expense accounts.
the expensive. What were the stories about? They would wheel food through or drinks or something like that.
Before I got there was a drink cart. We had dinners, but we could just expense taking each other out for dinner or lunch all the time. I didn't.
And there were
pay
like
for
black
a meal.
cars and like.
Oh my God! Yeah, when I first got there, I took there were these Lincoln Town cars outside on Thursday, Friday nights, and I just took one to the Hamptons once, and then like I got they would never like berate you for doing anything, but an editor just told me a story about Carl Bernstein's abuse of the town cars. And I was like, they're talking
Carl
about
Bernstein's abuse of the town cars.
So there are these little slips, physical paper that you would use to write out where you were going. And I think he grabbed a booklet of them and would just use the town cars from wherever he was, not just
really
from the
funny.
timing building.
That's great.
Great. Yeah.
What
Was
what-
it you worked? Was it Isaacson was your first?
Yeah, he hired me. Yeah,
He
Walter
hired
Isaacson.
you.
Walter Isaacson? Huh?
Yeah. Walter Isaacson. I don't know Walter well at all. Like, we literally have had 3 chats, once about the Jobs biography and once about the Musk biography. And both times I think he thought I hated them.
Oh.
And I was like, no, those are both terrific books. But
think
for
they're
some
great,
reason we
yeah.
kind of talked past each other. And so now he doesn't talk to me anymore. But
Oh.
I think he's a tremendously talented, obviously, biographer. How was he as an editor, a publisher?
I mean, he was great, and he was particularly great to me. Like, I was the teacher's pet, which
okay.
caused some problems because other editors would want to change things or didn't want me to do things, and
I
then it would go straight through.
But he had good instincts, do you think? As a
Good
his great
energy.
instincts, his great instincts as a biographer. I just don't know what it would be, what he was like in terms of a weekly cycle.
Yeah, just the energy and the desire to do something new and
Yeah.
change things was, I think, what propelled him. And just he was a well-connected reporter.
Yeah, and he
So
also
he could
seems
get
like
people.
someone who's always really looking forward. He's not a guy who's trapped in the past at all. Like, that's my impression. in
No,
talking-
and he taught me that you can steal things.
Yeah.
I remember getting there, and I was working at the front of book, the stuff at the beginning of the magazine.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's do a thing called numbers, where
Okay.
you print a number and then the fact underneath it. I was like, oh, that's the Harper's Index.
Harper's
We
Index.
can't- we can't
That's
do that.
Harper's Index.
Index, yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
great idea.
Let's all dress up like, what was the editor?
And he
who would
was like,
slap him?
so what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 He's like, yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. So I was like, oh, you can
Sure.
get away with things I didn't think you could get away with.
Oh, that's interesting. Free to steal good ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just think he's an incredibly talented biographer. He's just so
Yeah.
interesting on that front. Like
The way he develops the relationships with these people is fascinating.
Yeah.
He just gets them to, next thing you know, he's like on the plane with them, sitting at lunch with
Sleeping
them.
at the end of the
Yeah.
bed.
Don't you
Sleeping
think
at the
it's
end
a
of
little too? Don't you think in those biographies it's a little too
Yes.
Cozy?
cozy?
I agree with you
Thank
1000%.
That was
He's-
an excellent choice of words.
Is he cozy or is he just not harsh enough?
Yeah.
Is that what we mean?
It's a little too cozy, and then as a result, he kind of like, well, we don't need to talk about the fact
He told
that
me,
he yelled at his kid.
he told me a story.
Even Ben Franklin, right? It's like he's not sleeping with these women he's in the bath
Yes.
with. Yeah.
Walter told me a story.
Who among us hasn't used that one?
Right.
There was
Gandhi.
only one bath.
I didn't think it was going to get out, though.
There was only one bath. Walter told me a story about an interaction he had with Steve Jobs, and he didn't put it in the book.
I heard a couple from him.
Yeah, one I wrote about at the New York Times, but it was the morning of the iPad announcement, and Steve was, he's very skinny that day. They go to the St. Regis, and Steve Jobs orders an orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice with no pits in it or whatever. What is it called? Pulp. Thank you very much. And this woman brings over the orange juice, and he starts drinking it. And as he's talking to Walter, and he says, he calls the waitress over and he says, "There's pulp in this. I asked for no pulp." And this happened like 3 or 4 times, and she kept bringing it back, and she was almost in tears. And he was like berating her. He was like, "All I'm asking for you to do is get me an orange juice with no pulp in it." And she walks away for like the 4th time, almost in tears. And Walter says, like, "Steve, what are you doing?" And Steve apparently had said, like, if she's chosen this to be her job as a waitress, then she should be the best waitress she can be. And my job is to push her to do that.
Right. No, it's not.
Which is not, and we all agree with that, and that was his mentality. But I think it's like those are the character moments that I wish that were in some of the books.
Well, this is what I mean by his relationship with these people was too cozy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is definitionally Steve Jobs, and he left it out.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
He said, I don't think it's cozy. I think Walter.
Damn it, I like the word cozy.
Especially, yeah.
But he's not cozy with Ben Franklin. He just doesn't like to point out anything.
Flaws.
He
Why?
just finds it
Is it like-
untoward or
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the things that make them interesting.
He told
you
me
know?
that Jobs, he would go over his house and Jobs would like grab a thing of grapes or something for himself and never offer him any.
Oh,
Which I
that's
just,
yeah.
Again,
doesn't seem human.
definitionally.
Yeah, okay.
Goes to character. Grapes.
Were they good grapes? Like, do we know what kind
Cotton
of
candy.
Yeah, those are great grapes. Those are great grapes. Tell us a little bit more. So you have 38,000 Substack subscribers.
Oh God.
Is that
right?
Like, are you
That's
making
good.
more money doing this than you
I
were
make
at time?
$20,000 a year.
You make $20,000 a year?
Yeah, on Substack, yeah.
How do you have so many subscribers but you make no money?
They don't pay.
A lot of them are free.
Yeah. I think you have to either provide a useful service, which I totally don't,
Yeah.
and or post all the time. I
And you
can't
don't.
believe how much people are willing to read and look at. Like once a week is way too much for me from anybody. But people seem to have an endless appetite, and I
it's crazy.
don't understand it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I've been blown away by that. Where people complain if they don't get things.
Yes.
At least twice a week.
And what are you doing with that extra $20,000 a year?
Yeah, that's right. You get that letter also. No, it's interesting.
Goes right back in marketing.
Well, I'm convinced that a lot of it is people feel like they want to get full value for their non-money, that but they don't read it anyway. They just feel like, okay, you know what, I'm subscribed, so I'm going through it's a ritualistic exercise, and I need to feel like for the ritual, I'm making you suffer appropriately.
This is how AI comes in.
All right, Joel, we're going to wrap up.
Good.
But I have a question. Do you have a fun story you want to tell us, like a really fun outro here, like one of your reporting experiences, or
What are you looking for?
I don't know, something that'll make the listeners go to theendofmycareer.substack.com.
Well, no pressure though.
You know what I've been doing? I've been hiding stories. This has been fun for me.
Okay.
So because I have so few people paying,
Yeah.
I can trust them.
Yeah.
And so I've been running stories. They've all been like celebrity stories that I didn't want to tell.
Got it.
Of horrible things that have happened. So I've been, and they haven't leaked around. So it's been good.
Can you tell us one? Come on. You got to have one.
Yeah, but again, I don't want the
Yeah, but no one's listening to this. Don't worry. I'm joking.
No, yeah, I feel like because they're only half my stories, they're
Okay.
about someone else
Got
that I don't want to like widely share.
I have an idea. Tell us who one of the subjects is, and then we'll make up a story about
And why did
Okay.
Taylor Swift do that?
Yeah, there was one I posted recently about Jamie Lee Curtis.
Got
That
it.
was a
So if
difficult
people want to
moment.
hear the story, they have to go to your Substack.
Yeah.
There you go.
Joel, thank you so much for taking the time today. This has been really fun, and people can find you in Time Magazine.
No, you missed the whole point of this thing.
On the Substacks.
Do you want to do the outro here, or you?
I thought that was the outro.
That was the outro.
feel
No, but
outro.
you. Thanks for listening to
Yeah,
the.
thanks for listening. That's been Joel Stein, a.k.a. Johnson, and this is the Nick, Dick, and Paul Show.